Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be talking about Cissnei, the next new character to be dropping to Global DFFOO with the release of the Act 3 Chapter 7 Part 2 story update. Now with Cissnei has some strong follow-up attacks that she deals, but it is stack based, and depending on what stacks you have on Cissnei will equal the damage output that she is going to be dealing. But at the same time though, there is a somewhat unique way to be able to play Cissnei so that you are able to get the maximum damage every time somebody on your team acts or attacks an enemy. So we're going to be talking about all of that in this video. So let me know what your plans are going to be for Cissnei in the upcoming banner. Now the banner did get changed a little bit because originally in the JP side Zidane was on the banner, but he did get moved up, so there's a possibility that we could be seeing another character. Some of us do speculate that Y'shtola with her LD might appear alongside with Cissnei, but it is not 100% confirmed, so we are just gonna have to wait and see. But regardless of what changes are gonna be coming to said banner, we are still gonna be talking about Cissnei and whether or not she's actually worth pulling for. So let me know your plans down in the comment section below, and with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we'll first start off with Cissnei's skill 1, which has a total of 8 uses. Now her skill 1 is a 6-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack 2 times that grants 1 stack of her Wild Rekka overhead for 6 turns. Now her overhead has a max stacks of 3. Now her overhead provides a self 20% attack and max brave up and a 10% party attack and max brave up. Now these effects don't increase based on the stacks. Whenever her or ally attacks an enemy, it triggers the follow-up attack encirclement depending on how many stacks. So at 1 stack, it deals a 4-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack that deals split HP damage. After the HP attack, she increases brave based on 20% of the HP damage dealt. 2 stacks deals a 5-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 2 times that deals split HP damage and consumes 1 stack of her overhead. She increases brave based on 20% of the HP damage dealt after the last HP attack. And then for 3 stacks, it deals a 6-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that deals split HP damage and also consumes 1 stack of her overhead and increases brave based on 20% of the HP damage dealt after the last HP attack. Her skill 2, which has a total of 6 uses, is a 6-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack 2 times that deals 50% splash damage and increases active overhead by 1 stack. Her EX ability, which has a recharge rate of slightly slow, is a 4-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 4 times that deals split HP damage, increases the active overhead by 2 stacks, and increases the EX recast gauge speed by 20%, and grants the Fortune Star buff for 8 turns. Now this buff provides her and the party with the following: a self 100% critical hit rate up, a self 50% critical brave damage up, a self 20% HP damage up, and for the party, they will receive a 20% attack and max brave up. Now, when it comes to her sphere, which is the critical attack boost or shorter. Whenever you are dealing a critical hit, it will add a party attack up and max brave up by 5% for 3 turns, and then the crack sphere, which will be farmable in a future event, it will increase by 2%. And then Cissnei's spear slots are going to be 2 A slots and 1 D slot. Now her C65 lasts for 7 turns and grants 1 stack of her overhead for 6 turns. It provides the party with a 20% attack up, 10% stolen max brave overflow up, and a 20% party brave damage cap up. Her LD ability, Shooting Star, which has a max uses of 4, is a 6-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that deals full HP damage, grants 3 stacks to her overhead for 6 turns. The Turk's Rising Star for 9 turns, and Like a Shooting Star for 1 turn. Now this specific buff, Like a Shooting Star, cannot be extended whatsoever. Now the Turk's Rising Star provides the party a 20% stolen max Brave overflow up and a 20% Brave and HP damage up. Like a Shooting Star buff makes it so that her overhead stacks do not decrease at all. Now when it comes to her call abilities, her first call ability just increases the caller's max Brave and attack up by 20%, and whenever you do call her into the field, she will be at 1 stack with her overhead and she will deal that damage. When it comes to her LD call ability, for the caller itself, or excuse me, not for the caller itself, but also for our allies, it provides a 20% HP damage up, a 20% stolen Brave overflow limit up, and a 20% Brave damage delta. And with this call, with the LD call ability, she will be at 3 stacks, so she will be dealing 3 HP dumps with that follow-up attack. Now when it comes to recommended artifact passive, seeing as how with Cissnei she's going to be dealing a lot of critical damage, it's best to give her attack 108 and then her C50, which is the Turk's throwing star up, which will provide the party with a party attack up and a max Brave up by 5%. And then finally, we're gonna look into her armor. So her 7-star armor, it is a Unity's Keystone, so to provide the party with a Brave damage cap up by 5%, and to herself, a max Brave cap up by 10%. And then if you decide that you want to fully max out and blue her armor, then she will be receiving a 20% max Brave cap up, and then the Brave damage cap up gets increased by 35% to herself, but to the party will receive a 5%. So is Cissnei worth chasing for in the upcoming banner? Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video, she is a bit unique because of her overhead when it comes to her stacks, because like whenever you are at 2 or 3 stacks, you do lose one of those stacks after she deals her follow-up attack, which is kind of a bummer, but the buff that she grants herself from her LD makes it so that she does not lose any of her stacks at all. And the thing is though, with that buff only being 1 turn, that is a tad bit rough. And to be able to try to maintain that throughout an entire fight, and of course that also depends on like how the fight is, you know, like with like the boss mechanics, so on and so forth. Like, you know, it may be difficult for Cissnei to actually be a participant in said fight. But the thing is, what you could do is you can actually pair up Cissnei with Turn Hoggers. Turn Hoggers would be, Cissnei would be best friends with Turn Hoggers, because that way, as they are basically just hogging all the turns and whatnot, Cissnei, if she is at, oh, I guess, you know, when you use her LD ability, she will be at 3 stacks. So while she is at 3 stacks, like, she is going to be dishing out that 3 total HP dumps with that follow-up attack. And especially if you have yourself a strong DPS character, like take example Titus that I'm using in this gameplay that I recorded, like you're basically just going to be stacking damage on top of what your already DPS unit is going to be doing. Also, since we do have Garnet with a BT, like pairing up Cissnei with Garnet would not be a bad idea at all, because the big increase with the HP damage cap up, pair that up with Cissnei, and best believe whenever you go into the burst mode with either Garnet or any other BT unit, like, yeah, Cissnei will definitely add on top of whatever damage said BT unit is going to be dealing during the burst phase. So like, it really just depends if you don't have that much of an issue with how Cissnei plays, with the fact that her stacks do decrease. But I mean, there is technically a solution. It's not a permanent solution, it's a temporary solution, but of course you have ways to be able to work around it, so that way you can take advantage of those follow-up attacks every single time anybody on the team acts. Now, the other pro about her is that she does have the ability to deal crit damage via the buff from her EX, which is a good thing. Of course, there will be future fights later on where having the ability to deal crit damage against an enemy who cannot get broken would actually be beneficial with having Cissnei on said team. But the question is though, like, is she actually worth pulling for now, or do you want to wait for a future banner to actually pull for her? Cissnei is not a bad pickup to actually pick up right now because of those follow-up attacks, because of the fact that, of course, we do have other characters that do deal a good amount of follow-up attacks. I mean, of course, you know, if you want to go into the burst units, obviously Garnet with her overhead, once she reaches 4 stacks, then yeah, she dishes out that powerful follow-up attack. But of course, you have to build up her stacks, kind of like what Cissnei does, except that Cissnei consumes the stacks, which is not, you know, there's pros and cons to it. Like, really, like, Cissnei is a double-edged sword where you can actually get some pretty good pros out of her, but at the same time, though, it's like you kinda in a way have to play a little bit differently with her. But at the same time though, like, you can actually benefit from what she provides, and especially with her having crit or being able to deal crit damage regardless of whatever it is that's going on, will definitely help her out and will be useful in future fights. So Cissnei, I would say, like, if you are needing a character and you have no issues with how you are gonna have to play with her, then Cissnei is not a bad character to actually pick up. Of course, there will be characters later on, and especially once we jump into the FR era, that will probably overshadow her a little bit. But whenever she does get her force enhancements, which I believe is in a future story update, of course, her damage output will be much higher. Now, she hasn't gotten any reworks or anything like that. She's only got a force enhancement, so there could be a possible chance that she could get a stronger rework, and she becomes monstrous later on. So as of right now, she is still the same currently in the JP side. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let me know, like, what kind of team comms you would actually use for Cissnei, or with Cissnei, and then, like, what kind of team comms you would actually use for the upcoming Safer Sephiroth fight that we are going to be encountering here on Global. But I'm curious to know what your guys' opinions are with Cissnei, and yeah, that's going to be it. So take care, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one.